Hello, Chip Thompson here, and I want to bring some information to YouTube about grouting the particular case of a medallion like this. As you can see, I've already started putting down the grout, doing a smearing all about, just like I am, of course. It's not a whole lot different than grouting regular tile. The main thing you got to remember is that little areas like this, there's a lot of detail. That's what it looks like before. A lot of little cracks and crevices. The other thing that's unique about Medallion is you have the size difference of this big end to the narrow. You got a lot of small places here. And first thing to keep in mind, you'll notice I had to take this tool here and actually scrape these areas out because the thin set came up and filled them up. So you got to get that down so that no thin set is going to be showing whenever you go with grout. Something else I had happen here, you keep in mind that whenever they put these pieces on here, some of them are not complete. This here corner broke off. I've glued it back together. Have a little bit of tape on it to help me remember which one it is, so I don't step on it. But once I get thin set around it, and once that glue sets out there, it's going to hold just fine. Of course, that's the thing about travertine like this. It's going to have characteristics where it looks chipped and rough. That's just travertine for you. So a little bit of a crack or a break is not going to be a big deal. Okay, and in this case, we've surrounded it with tile on the outside edges. This particular medallion fit perfectly with 12-inch tile. That's something you want to keep in mind if you're putting in a medallion, is what size the medallion is and the size of your tile, because if you had to cut any tile on this, you'd probably have to do either the end tiles here, the end tiles there, who knows, maybe every single tile to get the size right, and that could be a real headache. So definitely encourage you to make sure you get the right size tile. Okay, one last thought. I'm not going to mention the brand for copyright reasons, but I recommend, especially because you work on a medallion and so many of these uneven sized holes, that if you're working with a regular sponge, I'll get my regular sponge here. If you're working with a regular sponge like this, and you press that down in there, it's going to definitely pull out more here than here. So it's really hard to use a sponge like this to pull across here and keep that even. So this is what I recommend doing, is getting this here system. This is a lot more surface area on the sponge, and in fact, with the handle on it like that, you quite literally pull it across all those areas, and it does a lot better job of leaving the grout in place, so you don't end up taking those off down into those dips. So that's my tips on setting a medallion. The one last thing I'll leave you with is to have a second pair of hands ready when you set the medallion, because you have to set it all at once, and it does take a considerable amount of work to get it in the right place. So you want to take your time, do plenty of measuring all along the edges in the room where it's going to fit, and make sure it's all nice and square, easily written out on the floor. Then put down a thin set, and then at least 2 people, maybe 3 or 4, carry the thing in and set it down where it needs to go, because if you get it in the wrong place the first time you have to move it, it does make a mess. Okay, well, that's it for now. Chip D. Thompson at your service. Look me up anywhere. I have some other blogs out there too. So Chip D. Thompson. Thanks. Bye-bye.